Alright guys, the last reaction video for this month, that's something Nostalgia Critic, and of course, Nostalgia-ween. Yep, and if you guys hadn't seen the first reaction video to something Nostalgia Critic, that came out today, go check it out. But yes, you read the title of the last Nostalgia Critic video I'm reacting to. Yes, Nostalgia Critic's review of the Munsters. And of course, that being Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Yeah, I gotta say, well, first off, I too did a review on Rob Zombie's The Munsters. You can go check that out. Honestly, Rob Zombie's The Munsters, okay, I remember when this was announced, I was familiar with Rob Zombie, and, the fact that, even my parents, they are well aware of Rob Zombie, and those type of slasher movies he does, my gosh. And not to mention, he's well known for doing his version/remake of Halloween. And of course, John Carpenter's Halloween. There's only one movie that is called Halloween. And of course, with the sequels that came along, so, but yeah. Rob Zombie's Halloween films, I don't know, I guess they're mixed, I guess, yeah, from what I've heard, there are some good things and some nice details that come from the first Halloween film by Rob Zombie. And, when it was announced that he was going to do his adaptation, his own version of the Munsters, a new, piece of Munsters material, well, I think, yeah, if I recall, I was interested, and I remember seeing the behind-the-scenes photos, some that were in black and white, and seeing the cast, who was playing, Herman, Grandpa, and Lily Munster, and the fact that, there was no trace or anything if we were going to see Eddie or Marilyn. And it was later revealed, the more updates we got on this film, it's a prequel. A prequel to the Munsters, how Herman and Lily met, and so on. So, okay, that's interesting. That could work. And just seeing, photos of the Munster house being constructed, oh, it was amazing. And, when the trailers come out, and when it finally came out on Netflix, it got mixed reviews a lot. It was a mixed bag, unfortunately. And, I was, I guess if I recall, I was a bit disappointed that we got to see the Munsters house at the very end of the movie. All that time that they constructed that house, and it was saved for the end of the movie. I mean, again, I can understand that, but okay, so apparently they never lived at that house, even before Lily and Herman met. Say, Lily and Herman never... Not Herman, Grandpa Munster. Grandpa Munster and Lily did not live in that house, apparently, and they lived in a castle. They lived in a neighborhood, obviously, where there's a lot of other, universal monsters, like Nosferatu. I recall there was, the Wolfman, who's actually part of the Munsters family, and I know Doug's, as the Nostalgia Critic, is going to mention that. If I recall, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Jeez. And, for some reason, Universal Pictures told Rob that he can't shoot this in black and white. But why not? Was there a reason why he wasn't allowed to shoot this in black and white? When the Munsters came out, the 60s series, it was in black and white. And there was at a certain point where it did turn into color, but still. But I'll admit, with this being in color, the color is very nice and beautiful. So, it's no problem. And, Herman, his color, it's not right. He's not green, because when it was turned into black and white, and even when there was a TV movie that happened in the early 1970s that sadly no one seems to remember or talk about that much, well, that was in color, and, the coloring to the characters, and specifically Herman and Grandpa, it was like a grayish tone that they had. But I don't know. Maybe the more I think about it, and if you think about it, in this version of the Munsters, I guess the green coloring on Herman works okay, But yeah, I look forward to what Doug, aka the Nostalgia Critic, has to say about the Munsters. So, without further ado, we shall begin this video in 3, 2, 1, play.
This episode brought to you by Stamps.com. Why go to the store to get stamps when you can have them printed right at home for your convenience? Check us out at Grand Rapids Comic-Con November 11th.
Yeah, another one where there's a sponsor for which convention they're going to. They don't do that anymore, so... And they don't show the Channel Awesome logo anymore either. For 2022 Nostalgiaween, it's the intro is a parody of Scooby-Doo. Timing! Rob is a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. Shyamalan! Doug. And the Arnold baby. The Schwarzenegger baby. Mama! Right? Here we go.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. Why, you little He's already dead. Yeah, this movie's been put through the ringer, so I might show a little bit of mercy.
Yeah. Again, as I said, a mixed bag, unfortunately.
You know me, I love to jump down a bad movie's throat, but I will admit I can't do it quite as harshly as you might be expecting for Rob Zombie's The Munsters. Make no mistake, I don't think it's good, but the unique way it's presented does make me appreciate a few aspects of it. A few aspects. When the trailer
Lay down your guns.
The internet almost surprisingly freaked. No, not because it looked especially good. It was in color, the sound quality was bad, and it looked more like a haunted house ad than a movie. I just didn't know there were so many Munster fans out there. Not gonna lie, I'm an Addams Family guy myself. And yeah, I know you like both, but that kind of gothic, dark humor just appealed to me a lot more. Munsters lean more towards camp and screwball comedy, which is fine, as it did it well and with a good heart. But I'd be lying if I said I was an expert on it. And even with that said, I guess the fan base is more passionate than big, as the backlash for the trailer was so loud, I assumed it'd have like 1 million views or so. But when I revisited it, I found videos talking about the trailer got more views than the trailer itself. However, this seems to be the movie of the hour.
Sylvester
It's
McCoy.
Nostalgiaween, and I have some thoughts on it. So let's not waste any time, because trust me, the movie will do plenty of that. This is Rob Zombie's, as you can clearly tell, The Munsters, which maybe you couldn't clearly tell. The film opens in Transylvania with two grave robbers, Dr. Wolfgang, played by Richard Brake, and Floop, played by Jorge Garcia. And literally at the opening credits, we're given one of our main problems.
The guy from Lost.
Universal 1440. Okay,
Entertainment.
So everybody assumed this was a Universal film, which it is, but it's the same division that brought us such classics as Cop and a Half 2, Kindergarten Cop 2, Tremor 6, Child's Play 7, the friggin' Woody Woodpecker movie, need I say more? This is a direct-to-video company that makes cheap-ass spin-offs, and with that in mind, this film suddenly looks a lot more impressive, doesn't it? Keep in mind, did not let zombies shoot this in black and white. The sets are actually there and not CG. There's honestly only a few CG shots in this. And this does have a
like that one
style to
we just saw.
Like most of these. For all the film's problems, at least it's allowed to leave an impression, unlike many of 1440's productions, which I'm assuming you've never heard of. On that note, yeah,
now I do.
How can you be watching it and not wondering what it looks like in black and white? If they have a TV
1440
that allows you to watch it that way, definitely do it. It does look better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 1440 being a company part of by Universal Pictures,
He made a PG movie, and not just a PG movie, an 80s PG movie.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. This isn't PG-13 material, but it clearly certainly isn't a G movie posing as PG either.
No.
It's a little gross, and I can see tiny kids being scared by it. And I'm okay with that.
Franz Pennybacker, the world's greatest pianist. I want those phalanges.
If you're confused by this, don't worry. I'll play very little part in the story. Get used to that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a count in Transylvania Castle, played by Daniel Roebuck, or as I know him, the Hinky guy from The Fugitive. Hinky talks with his...
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I need you to do that thing you do.
I'll get those vertebrae as straight as my great Aunt Elga's knickers.
Yes, I am waiting for him to get out his sonic screwdriver and say, oh, hell no, this isn't worth it.
Nice.
We cut to his daughter, Lily, played by Sherry Moon Zombie, who's going on...
Good on the Doctor Who reference.
Vampire who just isn't her taste, to say the least. Here, this movie can make nothing but dad jokes, so can I.
You only listed two harpies, the Black Plague and Pestilence, which I thought technically were both the same.
I love them both equally.
So this is an example of the movie not being as bad as the trailer. In the trailer, he's introduced like this.
Remember what happened last time?
He was bad.
I'm gonna go.
Here, he does this long, awkward dance number, where he weirdly barely dances at all, and ends it with this. It's not going to make everybody laugh, but it is funny. The sound also isn't nearly as bad as in the trailer.
Through my dead black heart.
I can whip you up a humpy down in the land.
Through my dead black heart.
I can whip you up a humpy down in the land. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Oh, I don't like the sound of that.
Though sometimes I bet you wish it was, because some of these subplots are very random.
Yeah.
There's Lily's werewolf brother named Lester, played by Thomas Boykin, who owes money to gypsies. And man, they must have really thought this was gripping shit, because they come back to it quite a bit.
You give me money now, or Bella, chop off your hand.
She came out of retirement, that gypsy.
I give you
The actress.
the castle afterwards. Your head is
The
mine.
castle will be yours, and we can all live happily ever after.
That is what is left for you after our cup.
Don't borrow money from Zoe. I got a few irons in the fire. I got my feelers out there in the street. I don't care.
It's gonna make it weird when I come back to the Hinky guy, but yes, I don't care.
We don't care about these
As you put
these
together,
plots.
This is a prequel. We're watching
Like,
Wolfgang
you know,
and Fluke
these random
kill
plots.
Herman Munster, and we see how he met Lily. We don't even get Eddie Munster in this. So I feel like
No.
a lot of Munster fans would be looking for them at the house functioning as a silly but surprisingly healthy family unit is not here. Honestly, after seeing a scientist and hunchback
Again,
with a
prequel.
bald brain scream while giving him life and having a performance with his creation go wrong in front of an audience, I'm shocked this wasn't Rob Zombie's Young Frankenstein. This is either because he...
Ah, jeez, an ad. I was hoping that this wouldn't happen, especially what happened, you know, after what happened in the last reaction video I did that came out earlier. Well, and, you know, because, again, this is a prequel, so it's understandable why we're not getting the appearance of, say, Eddie or Marilyn Munster. And, the audio, because he was showing, you know, in the trailer and in the movie itself, well, I mean, that's happened before in trailers and when the actual movies come out, how the audio sounds, you know? Just saying. And yeah, again, nice on the Doctor Who reference. Even though, because yeah, Doug did state one time that he never did watch Doctor Who, but it still doesn't hurt that, you know, he would do some Doctor Who reference. And I don't know, because did he at least, maybe as of now, give Doctor Who a watch? I don't know, because obviously he's well aware of it, and I don't know. And if anybody's asked him that, and if I haven't seen anything on YouTube, I don't know. I just don't know. And yeah, I have to mention, like, I need to mention this, like, 1440, yeah, which is part of Universal Studios, because sometimes there are different, like, companies that are still a part of a main big movie studio company. Like, Warner Brothers has a couple, Disney does, 20th Century Fox, like, you know, like, a good example with, like, and since I mentioned 20th Century Fox, now called 20th Century Studios, Fox Searchlight Pictures, I think I got that right, yeah, so that's a good example right there. But good golly, the same studio that did the sequel to Kindergarten Cop, and the Woody Woodpecker movie, jeez Louise, But yeah, Doug has a point, because the Munsters feels more than just like how those other movies that that studio did, you know, what he said. So, yeah. Alright, so back to it. And yet another ad plays.
They made it a samurai film.
Okay.
And is brought to life, played by Jeff Daniel Phillips. He decides he doesn't need Dr. Wolfgang and wants to do comedy.
Actually, wait a second. Let me go back just a little bit. Well, and especially, and I'm just going back a little, so I'm just going back a little. Jeez, I'm just going back a little, so that way when it comes to editing, you know.
I'm shocked this wasn't Rob Zombie's Young Frankenstein. I know it's not Brooks's either, because he would have made it a samurai film.
Okay, there we go.
When Herman is brought to life, played by Jeff Daniel Phillips, he decides he doesn't need Dr. Wolfgang and wants to do comedy. Or whatever this is. Don't worry, this love for a music video doesn't go anywhere either.
Maybe would you like to come over for dinner one night?
I have to check my schedule.
Lily and Herman instantly fall in love with each other, and you're either gonna be into these performances or you're not.
When Herman Munster puts his head to something,
He's no Fred Gwynn.
Can I confess?
Nobody can ever top off Fred Gwynn.
Is this the Herman and Lily Munster from the show with a lot of heart and charm? That's a hard no.
That goes for both of them. They can never top off
Warped caricatures of them.
the
Like when
originals.
Dana Carvey imitates George Bush, it goes so over the top, it kind of becomes its own strange entity that's hard to look away from. And yes,
Yeah.
hard not to laugh at sometimes.
Yeah, he can go over the top.
What they do get down is how positive.
That's appropriate for Grandpa.
These two are so relentlessly upbeat and seem to enjoy everything, especially with each other. Even if half the time I have no idea what they're doing, I like that they like it.
Yeah.
Yes, it is very
Their romance is
tough
good.
and awkward in a way that would work more in a sketch comedy show rather than a whole movie.
Herman's got the move. Back it up. Back it up. Herman's backing it up.
Yeah. But the same way you can
Back
laugh
it
at a
up.
dying comedic performance because the comedian is giving it their all, the same I kind of giggle knowing everyone probably laughed hard after every take. There is a joy of performance in this, and it
Who
can be
wouldn't?
infectious, especially for something that's supposed to be campy. But here's the thing, there's a right way and a wrong way to do campy.
Yeah.
Batman the movie really works. Batman and Robin does not.
Nope.
I know it's not high praise to compare it to the worst Batman movie of all time, but there is an interesting similarity.
And we get the point.
Let's pretend you never saw the Batman movies. Like, this was your first one. You could cut to any 5 minutes of this film, and it would be hilarious. It's so weird, so awkward, and so gigantically tacky that it's impossible not to laugh.
The icy cold of space. Stay cool,
Bird Boy.
Tell me and I'll kiss you.
Freeze has taken the new telescope and turned it into a giant freezing gun.
Kill all the heroes! Yes, kill them! Kill them! Yes!
Admittedly, if I had no idea who Batman was, I'd find this hilarious. But only for about 5 minutes. After that, it gets boring. Where something like the Adam West film understood how to drag it out at feature length and still keep the laughs as well as the engagement going.
Yeah.
Munsters, I argue you can watch any random minute, heck, any random couple of seconds and get a laugh for how odd it is.
When they made me, they broke the mold! With you in it, I presume! No!
Seems like they've been waiting a while.
Well, they are dead.
I can't follow the plot of this Woody Woodpecker cartoon.
Is that Rob Zombie? Not Rob Zombie. Rob Paulson. Sounded like Rob Paulson to me.
Oh, the faux lizard silk chiffon.
Hey, anything Sylvester McCoy
It's not
does.
a minute long, it's 110 minutes long. Boy, do they start to add up.
Yeah.
I want to laugh along with the strangeness, but the strangeness is only one note. The original Munsters was campy, but it was smartly written. There was variety to the jokes, and you legit liked being with them.
You can be black or yellow or white.
Well, most of the 60s shows.
What does matter is the size of your heart.
This is like that comedian you meet at a nightclub who makes you laugh on stage, but then when you really want to talk to him, all he can do is keep telling jokes.
I swing her in the in crowd. I'm no Bobby Darin. What? Yowza, baby! Kick it! I'll come in! Why are you shouting? I thought you liked it! Please stop. Please stop.
After a while,
Okay,
I just
we
kinda
will.
gave up and started to admire the set design, which even
Yes.
then a lot of people say is too loud and busy. Which I mean,
Eh.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean...
there is an art to it. The set feels alive.
Yes!
The fog, the floating, the size of the castle. I feel like most of this would be CG in almost any other film, but they built this all and had to set it all up again for every shot. It
Yes.
has a today's campiness, like something you see on Svengoolie or a haunted house ad. How most people say this looks better than Rob Zombie's actual haunted houses. I don't know, when I hear a guy who made this is gonna adapt this with the people who made this, I just kind of assume
Yeah.
it would look exactly like what we got. But again, it just feels like we're missing some obvious ingredients. Like, look at this scene where Herman finally proposes to Lily.
Also, the fact that a Woody the Woodpecker cartoon is in the Munsters film. A reference, I guess. Like,
How the hell are we supposed to feel anything from that? Anytime they start to
A
develop
nod.
some real chemistry, it's almost like they said, well, that's
Creature
what
from Black
real
Lagoon.
movies. This is us just expensively screwing around.
We have to do something about this situation.
Hey, they quoted the most liked comment in a YouTube trailer.
okay. And now comes, like, the sponsor, and there's gonna be an ad. I mean, still...
Introducing Domino's
Of
new
course.
pepperoni stuffed
And of course, but of course I'm still gonna skip the sponsor that are in these Nostalgia Critic videos. What was there was something I was gonna say? Well, okay, as I mentioned, like the Woody the Woodpecker cartoon that's in the Munsters film, like a nice little like homage, reference, nod, whatever, and the fact that the studio that worked on the Munsters, they also did well, as the many times that Doug has mentioned this at this point, the Woody the Woodpecker live action movie. So yeah, and like the fact that Nostalgia Critic did do a review on the Woody the Woodpecker movie. So, I of course remember when that was announced. I'm pretty sure because yeah, it's still on Netflix. Yeah, so. All right, so let us skip. Well, wait a minute.
Just go to Stamp. We also have new content
Okay.
6 days a week. Hope to see you there.
All right, back to it.
So unlike the original where Grandpa Munster and Herman Munster really get along, Grandpa, or the Count as he's called it is because, again, there's never a reason to call him Grandpa, wants to give Herman the axe.
Come on, you know and I know that we gotta get rid of that bozo Herman Munster.
I actually don't mind this because it gives a chance for these two to discover what they like about one another and become friends.
Yes.
Most of the film, he tries to get rid of him, and then at some point, he just doesn't.
Knock 'em dead.
I'm pretty sure they already are.
It's always good to double check.
Almost as strange as having cameos from Elvira, Dee Wallace, and Butch Patrick, the original Eddie Munster, arguably the most iconic of
Yes.
the living Munster cast members, as this robot Tin Can Man who marries them.
And his voice is altered. God.
I'm sorry, that is so bonkers. How can you not laugh at that? I guess if I was a diehard Munster fan, I'd be really upset, but just as a random troll move, that really cracks me up. But don't worry, it gets traditionally lame.
And the original
Munster tricks Herman to signing
actress
over
who
the
played
castle,
Marilyn
resulting in them
does make an appearance in this,
figure
a
that out
cameo.
because they're too busy on their honeymoon in Paris looking for a sewer monster. Yeah, that naturally worked its way in.
We only hear her voice, so.
The picture on Crocodile Mile looked more realistic. Finds out about Herman's screw up and interrupts their honeymoon to ball him out.
And now, thanks to Swervy Curvy here, we are effectively homeless.
The bullshit, Sam.
Yeah, I knew that'd come across awkward by playing our clip from that, but again, it is the theme of this movie.
Mm.
There's only one one thing to do. Go to Hollywood. I know that invites more of an explanation, but trust me, you're not gonna get much of one.
Hollywood, California. If that guy's a star, imagine what will happen when they can look at me. I'm a 10. Zambo's a 7 at best.
After the reactions to this movie, that might not be best. Herman says Igor has to stay behind, though, which who the hell is he to tell the Count anything after he mucked up? So the Count creates a potion to turn him into, you guessed it, a bat.
It's not working.
But the best crafted universal effects that I also have on my computer. The Gideon Wielder, played by Cassandra Peterson. Yes, we all know she got famous playing the biker mama from Pee-wee. And they go their way to Hollywood, Budapest. And seeing how she invites them during a Halloween party and she says she'd be in a costume, obviously she dresses up as the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah.
From Transylvania.
My God, your makeup's only slightly better than mine.
It's a good thing she didn't dressed up as Elvira.
Threw me for a loop.
She, of course, thinks they're in costumes too and naturally shows them to 1313 Mockingbird Lane. And I love how they think that's the house being shown to them, but really it's the pleasant one right next to
Yes.
We're not born yesterday.
That's funny.
My parts were, of course, but that's besides the point.
Wait, that makes no sense on several levels. The house does look pretty great, even in color, and when it looks like they're throwing a Halloween block party, they of course fit right in, never realizing everyone's in costume. The local funeral home even offers her a job moving caskets.
Moving caskets.
New glass coffins. Are they successful? Remains to be seen.
Man, even Fozzie Bear would be like,
Cancel. Cancel the production. Cancel everything.
you know, maybe the reason this movie didn't use much CGI is because they knew they'd get quality like this.
Yeah, probably.
There's a digital effects crisis, you say? Herman gets ready to go to work and discovers all the people were in costume the night before, and they're hideously normal.
I'm sure if there was some CG, would have looked bad.
I knew it. I knew this was the beginning of crossovers in Dark Universe 1440. They tried to get used to their 60s, 2000s modern world, but it's cool. Lester struck it rich and is sharing the money with them.
That does make sense. Like, it's confusing.
That's it. It's over.
Yep.
Yeah, it felt like the movie went on forever with all these one-note jokes, and then suddenly it stops. Like this whole production was just one troll move that only the people who made it understands. I guess they do recreate the Munsters intro because you know what we saw was so identical to the original, and the film wraps up. So yeah, I guess it's not good, but how can you not be fascinated?
Yeah, how can you not be?
Yes, this film doesn't work for either fan base because there's either too much Rob Zombie for Munster fans or too much Munsters for Rob Zombie fans. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if down the road this does get a following for how strange it is. The same people who demand the butthole cut, throw spoons at the room, or dress up for Rocky Horror.
I noticed that there was a
find
snake.
similar,
Like,
awkward, but also passionate delight in this. Rob Zombie clearly does whatever he wants and brings a vision that's usually uncompromising and one of a kind. Because of that, though, for every Devil's Reject, there's a Halloween 2. In a strange way, I do appreciate that. He does take chances and tries unconventional stuff. Had the film not been so boring with its pacing and writing, maybe I would have gotten into it more, but I think those weird choices are going to be watched years from now by people trying to understand just what the hell he was trying to do.
yeah.
I'd much rather see something that takes a crazy
I almost
risk
forgot there
and
was a
fails
monkey,
than
a
something
chimp.
that plays it by the numbers and is passably
Ape.
okay. The best way I can put it is, it's not a good movie, but I'm glad there's somebody weird enough out there to make it.
Yeah.
I'm a nostalgia critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
Happy Halloween, Doug.
Back it up. Back it up. Herman's backing it up.
Backing it up.
We're still doing
All
it,
right, and the charity shout out. Well, that was not bad. Not bad review on the Munsters coming from Doug, aka the Nostalgia Critic. All right, enough said. Jump cut to my thoughts now. Hey guys, so that was my reaction to the Nostalgia Critic's review of Rob Zombie's The Munsters. And again, as I said, a not bad review on the Munsters, coming from, again, Doug, aka the Critic. So, yeah, Doug had a good point on what he had to say on the film, and, how can you not be fascinated by, this adaptation of the Munsters? There's just something about it, even though, yeah, it's not good, there's just something about it, like, some jokes are funny, and just some stuff seems to work okay, not all of it, but still. And, yeah, by the way, because the cameos in this film, from Dee Wallace and two of the original cast members of the original Munsters making cameos, and the fact that we don't see their faces and they do voices, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to sound harsh or really complain or anything, but I'm just saying, like, that's what I was expecting. I was thinking they were probably... maybe especially for, what's his face, Butch Patrick, Eddie Munster, like maybe he would be in makeup or something. But no, he's a robot who, marries Lillian Herman. She's Louise. And yeah, Dee Wallace, because Dee Wallace, like, she's like a news anchor, something like that, news reporter, I want to say. And the guy from Lost, yeah, because his appearance in this, and Sylvester McCoy, a.k.a. the Seventh Doctor, I was excited. Like, that's another thing, because, again, like, when I first heard about the Munsters movie, and with the casting, and when it was announced that Sylvester McCoy was going to be in this, I was like, oh boy, one of the Doctors is going to be in something the Munsters. Like, that's interesting. And the fact that, Sylvester McCoy, he's done a lot more than just being the Seventh Doctor. I mean, that goes for all the other actors who have played the Doctor. For Sylvester McCoy, like, well, he's also best known for being in the Hobbit films as the Brown Wizard, because in the Middle Earth franchise, the stories from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, there was the Gray Wizard and the White Wizard, and the Brown Wizard. There was also, there was a Blue Wizard. There were two more wizards. One of them was blue. I can't remember the other one, but, and Sylvester McCoy, he got to play the Brown Wizard. In fact, because the Brown Wizard in The Hobbit, because, he's in the woods and he can interact with woodland creatures and stuff like that, and he was good. Like, anything Sylvester McCoy does, and as I mentioned, anything that he does, he's good and sometimes funny. So, and yeah, Jeff Daniels as Herman Munster, as I said, like, he's no Fred Gwynn, and that goes for the rest of the cast who play Lily and Grandpa Munster. Yeah. And Sherry Moon Zombie, I'm sure she tried her best, and that's the thing. I almost forgot to mention this. Rob and his wife, they are huge fans of the Munsters. I'm surprised that Doug didn't even mention that. Both Rob and Sherry, they're zombie fans. And I'm sure, because that they're huge fans of the Munsters, they tried their best, especially Rob. I mean, he was in charge of everything, and he was helming/directing it. So I'm sure he did his best. But, sometimes, there's good luck and there's bad luck when it comes to filmmaking, Sad but true. I almost forgot, because I'm glad that, there's the option of watching Rob Zombie's The Munsters in black and white, and according to Doug, it's a much better way to watch the movie. But still, again, as I said, the coloring in this movie is very nice and beautiful. And again, the sets, the fact that they're practical is amazing. And I give the movie that, it does a heck of a good job with its, set designs, and they're actually practical in there. And I think there's a little bit of CGI used, and I think according to Doug and what he said. But I tell you, if there was a lot of CGI in this, because you never know, because it would probably, maybe for this, it wouldn't look that good. Well, the Woody the Woodpecker movie that Universal 1440 did. Like, Woody didn't look that bad, in CG. He looked fine, and I'd say, yeah, it's right there, like, say, next to, like, a good example, the Yogi Bear movie, how Yogi and Boo Boo looked in CG. Not all that bad, So there's that. And here's the thing, and I think I did mention this when I reviewed Rob Zombie's The Munsters. I was thinking, and when I was watching the movie, probably so, yeah, when I watched it, that I was wondering, like, if there was going to be something like, I don't know, something a little bit climactic, like if someone was to capture Lily Munster, because there were a couple of bad guys, of course, in there, and besides, like, they wanted to have, Lily and Grandpa's, castle and so on. So I was thinking of that, and also the doctor that created and, brought Herman to life. I thought that, well, maybe him could capture Lily and so on, but no, there was none of that, and probably, I should have, expected that. Obviously there was nothing, and we don't get that much on what else happens with the doctor who brought Herman to life. Not at all, because he could have been like an antagonist, but not really. And the gypsy, like, who wanted to get the castle, from Lily and Grandpa, and, Lily's brother, the Wolfman, like, is in on this, and working with the gypsy. Well, yeah, I mean, like, not really of an antagonist, the gypsy, but, But oh well, I mean, I think probably it was probably for the best, and like, and here's another thing about Rob Zombie's The Munsters. It is a family-friendly, clean, film. It's one of those films that we haven't seen in a while. Nothing too extreme going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good thing. And, it's nice that, yeah, and as Doug did mention, because, Rob Zombie doing a PG movie, like, and it feels like an 80s PG movie, and Rob Zombie has finally done a movie where kids can watch a Rob Zombie movie, because all of his movies that he has done are all slasher and too gruesome and bloody and gory, you know what I'm saying? Jeez. So it's nice for once that Rob has done a family-friendly film that all ages can watch. And again, even though, it didn't turn out that good, and of course, it can never top off the original Munsters, again, Rob and his wife, I'm sure they tried their best, and as much as they are huge fans of the original Munsters. And, what Doug says, like, he admits, like, again, he says that it's not a good film, but, he seems to have some appreciation to it, as he explained in his review as the Nostalgia Critic. So yeah, and the same goes for me too. I can't say that, it's fantastic or anything like that, no. And even what I established in my review of the film itself, no, I mean, it's not good, but, there's something about it that, that's fascinating in what Doug said. So there's that. So what about you guys? What did you think of the video itself? What did you think of my reaction? Leave comments and give this reaction video a like, as always. And again, a not bad review on Rob Zombie's The Munsters, coming from Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic. So, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction to the Nostalgia Critic's review of Rob Zombie's The Munsters. More reaction videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video /reaction. Take care, and peace out.